Once again, I want to thank Lance, Book Reader 2012, for sending me these James Bond films. As a quick recap, I liked Dr. No. That was a good start. Then you got to From Russia with Love, which I don't know why this film gets praise. I don't get it. I like the last couple scenes with James Bond versus Robert Shaw's character on the Orient Express. I like the fight there. I like the bit with James Bond in the helicopter. And then he's on a boat and shoots a flare and fucks up a couple boats. But that's like in the last 20 minutes or so. The rest of it I thought was really dull, very boring, very slow paced. The plot with the decoder, that the Bond girls were lame. Just thought this was a pretty boring, dull affair. I don't really understand why that's considered one of the best, but that's me. Um, but then you get to Goldfinger, which I really enjoyed. So it's kind of like, it was been this like, I like Dr. No, From Russia with Love, not so much. Goldfinger really liked. Then you get to Thunderball, which I liked overall okay. I liked it alright. I do think it's a bit stepped down from Goldfinger. I liked alright. This is considered the underwater film. Terence Young comes back to the director's chair. He directed the first two, but it was Guy Hamilton that did Goldfinger. Terence Young comes back for this. I think this is an alright film. It's usually called the underwater James Bond film because a good chunk of this movie, well, a fourth of this movie like takes place underwater, which to me are the good scenes. But Thunderball, I mean, the plot is pretty much the SPECTRE, the evil organization. They stole into atomic bombs, and they're going to ransom some random city unless they get paid a shitload of money. And I like the way the film starts. I like the way the film starts where, uh, yeah, I can really see how Austin Powers really took from films like this, yeah. Where you think it's a woman, and then James Bond punches this woman, and it's actually the bad guy he's looking for, and you get a pretty decent fight, and James Bond fucks the guy up, and then he runs out, and then he gets a jetpack. Grant, I don't know where the fuck the jetpack came from, because he runs out, and all of a sudden, boop, now there's a jetpack, so again, I don't know where the fuck the jetpack came from. It came out of nowhere. Came out of his ass, I guess. out of the fucking thin air. But, okay, I like the bit with the jetpack scene, okay. That was a cool opening. But then you get the song by Tom Jones, Thunderball. Didn't really care for the song. You got Thunderballs! Or whatever the hell it was. Um, and then I like the bit with you have all the Spectre evil guys. And for the past couple of films, you've heard the character of Blofeld. He has like a cat. And like someone's fucking was embezzling his company, so he pushes a button, and the guy fries, and it goes down, gets rid of the body, comes back up. So again, Austin Powers, and then also the main villain here. It's a Largo or number two with an eye patch. Again, what they use later for Austin Powers. Although I think this guy was a lame, bland villain. Adolfo Celi is Emilio Largo. That was a pretty lame villain, like this guy here. I thought it was pretty bland villain. Goldfinger was a better villain. Dr. No was a better villain. Robert Shaw was better, even. I thought this was a pretty bland villain. Didn't care for the acting or just kind of... I like the idea that he was a guy who had sharks at his pool and stuff. Okay, I like that, but... basically, the opening of the film, like the first hour of the film, like after the opening I liked, but the first hour I thought was pretty slow and pretty dull. Uh, the stuff that was happening I didn't really... I guess I got into it more than From Russia with Love because, deal with the underwater sequences. It was a little bit more interesting and intriguing than the shit in From Russia with Love. I just, for most of that film, I didn't give a fuck what was going on. I was just bored. And Sean Connery's not the problem. Sean Connery is fine in all the films I've seen him so far. But the first hour you have James Bond is doing this health check, and he's in this device that'll stretch his spine, and some guy flicks it on, and he's in there, and, I didn't really care. I thought it was kind of, I don't want to say silly, because I know a lot of James Bond films are silly, but I didn't really care for it, the sequence. And then finds out this professor guy tried to have him killed, so he traps the guy in this sort of this machine that you get in that is steam and kind of like a bath and heat machine type of thing, steam machine. And basically what's going on is that the bad guys, they've taken a guy to surgically alter his face to look like this pilot. So that they can kill the pilot, take the pilot's place, get on this plane, kill all the other pilots. They pretty much do like Broken Arrow, like they did in Broken Arrow, which I like Broken Arrow much more than this movie. I think Broken Arrow is a much better film than this movie. But, um, and then the Spectre, bad guy who's altered his face to look like the pilot, steals the plane, crashes the plane in the water, so it goes down, and then Largo and the Spectre team go in and steal the atomic bombs, and one of them kills the pilot. Good, really good underwater photography. They really did a good job with the underwater photography. I like the professor guy who tried to kill James Bond. The bad guys want him killed. So like the professor tries to kill James Bond, but then the Spectre guys kill the professor guy because he fucked up. Yeah, anyway, it's not much to it. One leads to another, James Bond meets the pilot, the real pilot's, the dead pilot now, real sister. And plays little cards with Largo, the guy with the eye patch, and he wins. When he gets to a hotel room, he meets, there's Felix, the character, the CIA character that we've seen in the past few James Bond films, is there again. And James Bond fucks up a guy, lets him go, and Largo feeds the guy to his sharks for not killing James Bond. And then we have Q coming in and gives James Bond his gadgets, which is like a Geiger counter, an underwater camera, this little breathing apparatus, little homing signal. And that's like the first hour of the film. So again, besides the opening of the film, which I liked the opening of the film, other than Sean Connery's performance and some underwater photography, I thought it really took a long time for it to get going. I thought it was just not much to it. I don't really care for the James Bond girls. I thought Largo was kind of not even kind of, he was a mediocre villain. So I'm like, God, really dragging. This film did not need to be 2 hours and 10 minutes long. I'm sorry. But then after the hour, it gets a little bit better. I got more into it because did good underwater photography. James Bond fights this guy underwater, and then the bad guys try to drop grenades on him, and he escapes. Yeah, it was a couple of fun dialogue. For instance, the bad guy shooting these clay pigeons. I think that's what you call clay pigeons. It's like they shoot and they shoot this like disc, and they shoot it with a gun. And Bond is like, "Oh, this seems difficult, terribly difficult." Oh, no, it isn't it? So it shows up the bad guy like that. Or later on, there's a scene where there's a guy coming at him, and he shoots the guy with a spear. And he goes, I think he got the point. And he throws it off well. He throws off those one-liners well. So I like those two little scenes. I like the underwater photography. Uh, I like this bit where there's a lot of girls in this movie that sometimes I couldn't get who was who. Like, you have the girl at the spa at the beginning of the film when he's getting his health checked out. You have this girl who joins them on the mission. Then you have this femme fatale girl. Then you have this girl who's the pilot's sister. And then I guess the girl who joined them, she gets captured. James Bond goes in, finds her dead, uh, shoots a couple people, kicks a couple people's ass. And I like this scene where he gets trapped, him and this bad guy get trapped in this pool with the sharks. Real sharks. Real usage of sharks. I thought it was Cool little scene where James Bond has to escape from the sharks. Thought that was really cool. Um, then the femme fatale, which out of all the ladies, I thought the girl who played the femme fatale, let's see, what was her name? I think Luciana Paluzzi is Fiona. I think she did the best out of all the females in the film. Captures James Bond, but then like there's this like carnival happening, and there's a guy with a bottle, and James Bond kicks the bottle and shoves her lighter to it, so the car burns, and he escapes. And like dances with the femme fatale because he knows there's bad guys around, and sees a gun and turns her so that she gets shot. I like that little bit of sequence as well. So again, the second half of the film, there's more scenes that I liked, that I enjoyed. It's probably why I can say I like this more than From Russia with Love, because From Russia with Love is really the last 20 minutes that I got into it. Here, the second half of the film, I got more into it. One thing leads to another. James Bond finds what's going on, finds uh, the plane that's got fucked up. You know, the shark's over. Finds the guy. Tells the pilot's sister that, you know, I need your help. I know you're in with Largo, but this guy killed your brother, the pilot. And that's when Bond shoots the guy with a spear. Says a pretty good line, one-liner. And he pretends to be a henchman, goes in, they find him out, he gets trapped, and then basically Felix and a bunch of his American guys jump in with parachutes, and then you get a really good battle sequence underwater, whereas a bunch of good guys, a bunch of bad guys fighting underwater with spears and, you know, knives, fucking up the snorkel, and, you know, so that they don't have air. And it's really good stuff. I like that bit. I like that bit. I thought James Bond got some really cool moments. You know, James Bond has his jetpack underwater and shoots some spears at some motherfuckers, and shoots a spear at something that goes down and crushes a couple people. You know, fucks some people up, karate chops one, shares a harpoon in someone's face, and go, ooh, shit. Tricks three of them into going somewhere, and he drops a bomb, and they blow up. So, really well done, beautifully photographed, entertaining, you know, sequence. Then James Bond fights Largo on this boat, which they made a big deal of this boat. I don't think it was that big of a deal. Like, it's a big boat, and like comes apart, so it goes a little bit faster. And the fight scene at the end is really laughable because they speed up the film. Like, James Bond fighting some guys and trying to fight Largo. First off, they're speeding up the film, which looks ridiculous. Sometimes when it's James Bond fighting or it's just the boat, it speeds up. I'm like, are you serious? Really? Did you have to speed up the fucking film for this? And then James Bond doesn't even kill the bad guy. It's the girl, Domino, the pilot's sister, that kills the bad guy. I'm like, okay, I thought that was kind of lame, to be honest. I mean, hell, that's fucking From Russia with Love as well. Where, not the main bad guy, but like the last person, someone's trying to kill James Bond, the girl kills her. Same thing here. Someone's about to ready to kill James Bond, and the girl kills the bad guy. And I'm like, really? So overall, again, I just say I liked Doctor No and really liked Goldfinger. For Russia with Love, not so much. And here, I like okay. I know this gets a lot of praise, but positives, the underwater photography is good. You have a couple of good one-liners from James Bond, like, uh, I think he got the point when he fucks a guy up with the spear. The sequences like him dealing with the sharks and the pool, the ending with all the good guys and bad guys fighting underwater, really wonderful photography. You know, people getting shot by spears and harpoons and fucking people up with knives. I thought it was a really good sequence. Well staged, well filmed. I understood what was going on. Um, but I also think you got a lame bad guy. You got some lame Bond girls. Lame song at the beginning. And the first, it did not need it. It was too long. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes. It got kind of long and boring and dull. So I think, some stuff could have been trimmed or could have been, get more to the point. I don't know, but I thought this was an okay. I do think it's a step down from Goldfinger, but I thought it was okay. I could say I like it better from Russia with Love, but I thought it was okay. So, it was okay. But either way, thanks for watching. Take care and stay tuned for You Only Live Twice.